Okay. Ooh, I apologize. I was pulled away very quickly at the end of the last one because I was being summoned to go get ice cream. So that's cool. And now it's like 3 days later. Oh well. I believe I left off talking about the different kinds of alcohols that, or beverage maturing that happens with barrels. I think I finished the whiskey. So moving right on to brandy. Maturing is very important for a good brandy, which is typically aged in oak casks. The wood used for those barrels is selected because of its ability to transfer certain aromas to the spirit. Cognac is aged only in oak casks made from wood from the forest of Tronçais, and more often from the Limousin forests. Tequila. Some types of tequila are aged in oak barrels to mellow its flavor. Reposado tequila is aged for a period of 2 months to 1 year. Añejo tequila is aged for up to 3 years, and extra añejo tequila is aged for at least 3 years. Like with other spirits, longer aging results in a more pronounced flavor. Beer. Beers are sometimes aged in barrels which were previously used for maturing wines or spirits. This is most common in darker beers such as stout, which is sometimes aged in oak barrels identical to those used for whiskey. Whiskey distiller Jameson notably purchases barrels used by Francian Well Brewery. By Francian Well Brewery for their Shandon Stout to produce a whiskey branded as Jameson Caskmates. Cask ale is aged in the barrel, usually steel, for a short time before serving. Extensive barrel aging is required of many sour beers. Condiments. Balsamic vinegar. Traditional balsamic vinegar is aged in a series of wooden barrels. That's all we got. Tabasco sauce. The pepper mash used to make Tabasco sauce is aged for 3 years in previously used oak whiskey barrels since its invention in 1868. I apologize, my dog is making noise. She wants to go outside, so I'll be right back. Come on, dog. And I'm going to check to see if our front gate is closed. Wonderful. Okay, sorry for that. I do not feel like editing these videos, so that is what you get. Well, you get her outside, the dog outside, so you don't have to listen to her clanking and whining in here. Dogs are noisy. Okay, talked about Tabasco sauce. Aged in for three, actually, that is kind of crazy. I need to take a second to think of that. Aged for 3 years in oak whiskey barrels since 1868, Tabasco sauce. That's wild. Soft drinks. Werner's Ginger Ale is marketed as having a barrel-aged flavor, and the syrup used to produce the beverage was originally aged in oak barrels when first manufactured in the 19th century. Whether the syrup continues to be aged in oak is unclear. Angel's Share. Angel's share is a term for the portion, the share, of a wine or distilled spirit's volume that is lost to evaporation during aging in oak barrels. The ambient humidity tends to affect the composition of this share. Drier conditions tend to make the barrels evaporate more water, strengthening the spirit. However, in higher humidities, more alcohol than water will evaporate, therefore reducing the alcoholic strength of the product. This alcoholic evaporate encourages the growth of a darkly colored fungus, the angel's share fungus. Baldoinia comp, compniacensis, compniacensis, which tends to appear, that is the fungus, compniacensis, which tends to appear on the exterior surfaces of most things in the immediate area. Water storage. Water barrels are often used to collect the rainwater from dwellings so that it may be used for irrigation or other purposes. This usage, known as rainwater harvesting, requires, besides a large rainwater barrel or water butt, adequate, waterproof roof covering and an adequate rain pipe. Oil storage. Wooden casks of various sizes were used to store whale oil on ships in the Age of Sail. Its viscous nature made sperm whale oil a particularly difficult substance to contain in staved containers. Oil coopers were probably the most skilled coopers in pre-industrial cooperage. Olive oil, seed oils, and other organic oils were also placed in wooden casks for storage or transport. Wooden casks were also used to store mineral oil. The standard size barrel of crude oil or other petroleum product, abbreviated BBL as barrel, is 42 US gallons. This measurement originated in the early Pennsylvania oil fields and permitted both British and American merchants to refer to the same unit, based on the Old English wine measure, the tierce. Earlier, another size of whiskey barrel was the most common size. This was the 40 US gallon barrel for proof spirits, which is of the same volume as 5 US bushels. However, by 1866, the oil barrel was standardized at 42 US gallons. Oil has not been shipped in barrels since the introduction of oil tankers, but the 42 US gallon size is still used as a unit of measurement for pricing and tax and regulatory codes. Each barrel is refined into about 20 US gallons of gasoline, the rest becoming other products such as jet fuel and heating oil using fractional distillation. Let's look at some pictures. Okay, here we have wine barrels in Napa Valley, California. They look fine enough. Whoa! The Mercier oak barrel with a capacity of 200,000 champagne bottles was created for the 1889 World Exposition in Paris. And how elegantly it was, too. Look at how many hoops they needed for that. And it looks like it's starting to bow. That actually seems like it was a challenge. And when you think of it, like the amount of flair that they'd have to give the staves from one end to another on something this size, it's got to be pretty small. So yeah, just the precision of that to actually make it hold water. Or maybe it being so big means that they were allowed to be not very precise and just kind of put I forget what it's called, the sticky stuff on the inside to keep it from leaking. Maybe it's actually a very imprecisely made barrel. I don't know. But it's cool. It's big. Open Japanese sake barrel for move. That's actually got a really pretty color on the inside. Look at them calves. Look at those shoes. What? Okay. Sherry barrel made with glass barrel head to show the layer of floor floating on top of the aging wine. And we did hear what floor is. I honestly forget, but it's like the byproduct of something. Sorry, somebody in the neighborhood has a really loud scooter that you probably just heard. But look, it's got residue down there. That's a lot of separation. Yeah, it's like a fermentation byproduct. I don't remember. Charred white oak barrels are filled with new bourbon whiskey and resting in a rack house for a period of typically 4 to 9 years for good quality bourbon, with the char giving the bourbon its characteristic copper color. Man, these barrels don't look that good. I'm sorry. Now I'm suddenly becoming a barrel critique. I cannot talk. Like, look at that. Look at those staves. They're not flush, you know? Mm. Where has the art of cooperage gone? These are nice made barrels. Beer barrels at the Munich Oktoberfest. Look at those things. They are heavily coated. Man, oh man. Nicht genügend gefüllte Krüge bitte nicht füllen lassen. I do not speak German. The angel's share in the sherry aging produces fungus on the walls. Okay, I guess all that is the fungus. Interesting. That is a substantial impact. I wonder if there's any health considerations. The angel's share fungus, Baldonia campanicensis, or however, on bark, top, with unaffected sample below. So that's all the fungus. That is sans fungus. Man, it's growing stuff. Well, that's growing stuff too. Blue 55 US gallon barrel drum. like an oil drum. Wine barrel parts. Ooh, have we gotten here yet? Don't look ahead. We haven't. Barrel shape, construction, and parts. Barrels have a convex shape and a bulge at their center called bilge. This facilitates rolling a this facilitates rolling a well-built wooden barrel on its side and allows the roller to change directions with little friction compared to a cylinder. It also helps to distribute stress evenly in the material by making the container more curved. Barrels have reinforced edges to enable safe displacement by rolling them at an angle, in addition to rolling on their sides as described. Casks used for ale or beer have sheaves and keystones in their openings. Before serving the beer, a spile is hammered into the sheave and a tap into the keystone. The wooden parts that make up a barrel are called staves. The top and bottom are called heads or headers, and the rings that hold the staves together are called hoops. These are usually made of galvanized iron, though historically they were made of flexible bits of wood called whiteys. Whiteys or whiteys? I don't know. Now I kind of want to. I want to know. Withy. Withy. Okay, completely wrong. But that fits it. A tough, flexible branch of an osier or other willer used for tying binding. Withy. Right? Withy. Yes. Sorry, I don't think that I have my recording set for recording audio from the computer. It was saying withy, so this would be withies. That being the old flexible wood to act as a hoop. While wooden hoops could require barrels to be fully hooped, with hoops stacked tightly together along the entire top and bottom third of a barrel, iron hooped barrels only require a few hoops on each end. Wine barrels typically come in two hoop configurations. An American barrel features 6 hoops from top to center: head or chime hoop, quarter hoop, and bilge hoop times 2, while a French barrel features 8, including a so-called French hoop located between the quarter and bilge hoops. The opening at the center of a barrel is called a bunghole. The opening at the center of a barrel is called a bunghole, and the stopper used to seal it is a bung. The latter is generally made of white silicone. I bet it is. Okay, so here's our barrel anatomy. I just clicked it by accident. Okay, whoopsie, what have I done? So, French oak is Quercus petrea. American oak is Quercus alba. Convection toasted is CT. Hoops on this are galvanized steel. An American barrel will have 6 hoops. A French barrel will have 8. The different barrel sizes: the Bordeaux is 59.5 gallons. The Cognac is 79 gallons. Sorry, that's better, I guess, in liters. It's Bordeaux is 225 liters. Cognac is 300 liters. Toasting levels: we have a light, medium, medium plus, and a heavy. I guess that affects the flavor, like how much the wood like infuses into the drink. So you've got the head is the top of the barrel. The crows, I'm guessing. Oh, wait, that's like an inner lay. I don't know. The branding is the name. The chime might be that lip. Head or chime hoop. Okay, maybe the chime is just the rim. What is the crows? Is it that drop? Is it like a rehout on a watch? Rivets, we know what rivets are, hopefully. The quarter hoop. Okay, so the top is the head or chime hoop. This one is the quarter hoop. That is the French hoop. And this is the bilge hoop. So bilge hoop is the innermost. American barrels wouldn't have this hoop. They would just have the head hoop, the quarter hoop, and the bilge hoop, all that times 2. There's our bung hole and our bung, a stave. The bilge is the widest part. The clevis. I don't actually know what that's referring to. Okay. I like the bunghole. Cooperage, shaping staves for a wine barrel. We've got a hollowing evidage. evidage, I don't know. A backing, the dolage, the tapering, beveling, écortage, I don't know. But that's the slant there. Groomed to oval shape. Okay, these are, I guess, the different parts you need. You'd have one of these every so often and then a lot of these from what I've seen on other barrels. That's not a great picture. But yeah, you can see there's short pieces and long pieces. Yeah. Okay. And then they use straw in between things. Okay. I'm not going to read it all. You can look at that picture if you want. Oh, and here it is. A half-completed beer barrel. In wine barrel cooperage, this setup is called a mise en rose. Okay, and we can see 3 hoops. Here's the bilge hoop, the chime hoop, and the quarter hoop. Okay. Oh, and it looks like it is kind of riveted, or sorry, not riveted. It's dug in a little there for the head to fit in, and that is probably what the crow's, if I mispronounce it, sorry, it's probably what the crow's is. It's probably the dip, but I don't know, so don't quote me. Don't quote me, quote Wikipedia. Okay, this I'm not really going to talk about. Sizes, or sorry, I'll read it, but I won't read the whole chart. A barrel is one of several units of volume, with dry barrels, fluid barrels, oil barrel, etc. The volume of some barrel units is double others, with various volumes in the range of about 100 to 200 liters, which is 26 to 53 US gallons. So we've got here English wine cask units, a gallon, rondelet, barrel, tierce, hogshead, puncheon, tertian, pipe, butt, and ton. And you can look at that if you want. Pre-1824 definitions continued to be used in the U.S., the wine gallon of 231 cubic inches being the standard gallon for liquids, the corn gallon of 268.8 cubic inches for solids. Okay. In Britain, the wine gallon was replaced by the imperial gallon. The tierce later became the petrol barrel. The ton, I don't know, was originally 256 gallons, which explains from where the quarter, 8 bushels or 64 wine gallons, comes. That's a lot of info. Brewery casks. We've got a gallon, a firkin, a kilderkin, a barrel, a hogshead, and year of designation for each, and then their comparisons. Although it is common to refer to draft beer containers of any size as barrels, in the UK this is strictly correct only if the container holds 36 imperial gallons. The terms keg and cask refer to containers of any size, the distinction being that kegs are used for beers intended to be served using external gas cylinders. Cask ales undergo part of their fermentation process in their containers called casks. Casks are available in several sizes, and it is common to refer to a firkin or a kilderkin, instead of a cask. The modern U.S. beer barrel is 31 U.S. gallons, half a gallon less than the traditional wine barrel. And they are quoting like some law or regulation here. Yeah. Oh, is that United States Commerce? I don't know. Dry goods. Barrels are also used as a unit of measurement for dry goods, dry groceries, such as flour or produce. Traditionally, a barrel is 196 pounds of flour, wheat or rye, with other substances such as pork subject to more local variation. In modern times, produce barrels for all dry goods, excepting cranberries, contain 7,056 cubic inches, about 115.6 liters. Those are unnecessary significant figures for me. I don't know about other people. In the northeastern United States, nails, bolts, and plumbing fittings were commonly shipped in small, rough barrels. These were small, 18 inches high by about 10 to 12 inches in diameter. The wood was the quality of pallet lumber. The binding was sometimes by wire or metal hoops or both. This practice seems to have been prevalent up till the 1980s. Older hardware stores probably still have some of these barrels. So those are just cheap, cheap barrels. Anyway, other stuff to read is the bankruptcy barrel, which is a visual symbol primarily of the 20th century used in, oh, I recognize this. Yeah, used in cartoons and other media as a token of destitution. Not intended to be realistic, it consists of a suit made of only a wooden barrel held on by suspenders, indicating that the subject is so poor that yada da da da. Interesting. Okay, barrel racing is a rodeo event in which a horse and rider attempt to run a cloverleaf pattern around preset barrels in the fastest time. And it's got collegiate and professional ranks, usually a women's event, though both sexes compete at amateur and youth levels. Barrel as a unit is something you could read more about. Cask ale, real ale, is the name coined by the Campaign for Real Air, CAMRA, for beer that is brewed from traditional ingredients matured by secondary fermentation in the container from which it is dispensed and served without the use of extraneous carbon dioxide. Cooper, we already read that. Drum, the container, a drum handler. It's a piece of mechanical equipment that I guess handles drums. Drunkard's cloak, oh, that's cool, was a type of pillory used in various jurisdictions to punish miscreants. Fascinating. Actually, yeah, I kind of want to. Here, we're gonna read that next. How about that? Hogshead is a large cask. Storage tank, I bet you could guess. A tierce, we've heard, is a measurement of wine cask. And oak wine barrel, those are pretty. So yeah, that does it for barrels. That was a really heady article. Like, man, if I was listening along, I would have to re-listen to a couple things because I don't know, just like hearing all these different ways that beverages mature, thus the beverage maturing. I don't know. That's a lot to hear. If you want to like retain everything, that is a lot. But we're done with that. I'm probably honestly going to reread it in my head, or just mumble to myself in the best way for memorization, because these are the kinds of little facts that you don't need, but you want. Anyway, see you in the next one.